Oh boy, that is so beautiful, so simple, and yet so powerful. So last week we began this process of a life of creation, and we began with the light. And the message is to recognize, to embrace, and embody that light that you are. So who noticed their light shining through the week? Who carried that with you? You noticed your light. Yes, you could see it, right? I could see your light all the way to Columbia. Yes, indeed I could. It was bright and it was brilliant. And that Monday night full moon reminded me of that. Yes, it was magnificent. So take that and keep that with you. Keep it tucked in your heart, remembering always that you are the light. The world is counting on you being that light. And from that light, we then expand into more. And that is today. And on the second day, God said, let there be firmament. And God called that firmament heaven. And so we take that light and we expand it into the heavens. So where do the heavens end? They don't. That's right. So we expand our light to infinity. We expand all of us into that beautiful, endless, infinite. I love that idea. So we tend to make conclusions about the vision that is before us. Whatever we see, we tend to make a conclusion about. It seems to be the nature of us as humans, and sometimes that works out okay. When I step into this space and I see the stained glass, when I see the pews and your beautiful, bright, shining faces sitting in them, and I hear Sakwi, I make the conclusion that I'm in a church, a spiritual community, right? So along with that conclusion, that's a reasonable conclusion, comes some expectations with that too, right? And then on Friday night, there's a group that comes into this exact same space, the same stained glass windows, the same lights, the same pews, for a completely different purpose. It's a 12-step recovery program. But when we walk into the space, we would make the same conclusion, right? Sometimes our conclusions are spot on. And if I'm being honest, a lot of times my conclusions are very far off. You experience that? Yeah, they're just not what's real. And the ancients did the same thing as us. They made conclusions. The scientists, the teachers, the philosophers, they made conclusions about what they saw. So when they saw the sun rose and marched across the sky and then disappeared, they made the conclusion that the sun moved around the earth. A perfectly logical conclusion by what was being seen. We may have thought that. People concluded that the earth was flat and the sun moved over it. Sounds fair. But thanks to the curiosity and the exploration of many people to explore space, we learned a few things. Actually, we learned a lot about the bigger picture of the universe and all that's in it. We learned a lot about the relationship of the planets to each other and to the sun and to the moon. We learned more about the workings of the universe. I don't think we learned it all, but we learned a lot more. And we learned a lot about the vastness of the heavens. My goodness. The same holds true in our own life experiences. We sometimes see from where we're positioned. If I stand over here and just look, that's lovely. And if I stand over here and look, this is lovely too. But when I stand here and get the full picture, wow, it's bigger, it's brighter, it's more. It's more of everything. We take in our experiences from the vision that we have, but with this idea of faith that there's more, faith that our light expands into those unending heavens, we, more than our eyes can see, more than our ears can hear, more than our mind can comprehend in this life. This faith draws us onward and outward to seek new ways of experiencing life. Bigger, broader, more expansive, and deeper. So we now understand what appeared to be a canopy over the earth is actually an endless atmosphere, the heavens, endless. When we see this concept in our spiritual life, we get to embrace the idea that there's more. There's more than what we can see, and we begin to embrace the possibilities. And this changes our idea of a God, for which I'm grateful. And then I'm able to understand. I'm able to understand my life a little differently. My idea of God as a child was very different than my idea of God as a young adult. My idea of God today is even vastly more different than any of those. And I see heads nodding because that's true for us. As we grow and understand, our ideas expand. And it's with this power of faith in that vastness, in that endlessness of the heavens, and all that is in it. And when we are in alignment with Spirit, and you know when you're in alignment, right? And you know when you're out of alignment, right? Oh, yes, we know that. We feel that. We feel that in our bones. We feel it everywhere. When I'm in alignment with Spirit, when I'm in my, the unlimited potential is there. I align my heart and mind to that unlimited potential of the universe and all that is. Now, we may have experienced our own lives, and yet we set our intentions just a couple of weeks ago for the year. And then we look back over the year to see how it evolved, how our intentions were made manifest. And we can often see great purposefulness in what happens. We often get more than what we intended. So we set our intentions with this or something better. Those are great words. And this "let there be firmament" is a representation of faith. Let there be firmament. Let those heavens be, and let me live in those heavens. It beyond what I can comprehend. And Hebrew 11:1 says, faith is the confidence in what we hope for, and the assurance about what we cannot see. I had a friend ask me, so you believe in God? Yes. How do you know there's God? How can you prove it? Well, I can't prove to you that there's God, but I can tell you that I see the movement of the divine. I see the movement of something greater than me or any of us combined. I see the movement of that in my life, in the lives of people I love, in the lives of all of you. I can see evidence of it. But I can't point to God and say, that's God. I would be foolish to try. I would limit God so much. So that faith is that confidence in what we hope for and the assurance of what we cannot see. How often in life, when we look back on our experiences, we can see them very differently. We see them from a hindsight, of course, which is always very clear. So way back when I was going through the experience of being divorced, I wasn't sure I could survive that. I wasn't sure that I had all that it took to take care of 3 children and to work and to support them and honor them and give them a good, solid life too. I was a little bit, or well, a lot, shy in the faith department. I didn't have faith that it was all going to work out every day. So I struggled. How was I going to survive? But now when I look back and let go of that fear that held me so bound to itself, and I look back and I see, oh my gosh, it was the releasing of those vows that sent me on a trajectory that brought me here today. And I can see that journey. And I can see the perfect unfoldment of the universe, providing everything that I needed all along the way to become a licensed teacher, to become a minister, to have a church. Oh my gosh, that takes my breath away when I think of it. Never did I see this. I was so wrapped in fear, doubt, and worry, and lack, and limitation. But once I learned the vastness of the heavens, let there be firmament, and we live in that. We swim in that sea of the endless possibilities. Every one of us, not just me or a select few, every single one of us, we get the opportunity to embrace that or to push that away. We get to decide that. So I look back on the last 5, 10, 30 years of life, and I see those beautiful movements of the universe making way for me and bringing to me and me to all the people, all the experiences that I needed to be able to be here today. I see purpose in those difficult days, in those challenging moments and experiences, and I see the gentle and even the not so gentle, when I didn't pay attention, nudges, tugs, and shoves forward, because I had to be shoved a time or two to end up where I needed to be. And I know that when all of us look at life with our God goggles, remember those God goggles that give us a different vision, we will see also that we live by faith and not by sight. When we live by faith, we grapple for nothing. 2 Corinthians tells us that. So when I heard that voice and that nudge of spirit guiding me to South Carolina, I didn't hesitate. I didn't question. I didn't doubt. I went home and started packing, because I knew from all of my experience of standing in that faith, there would be no disappointment. There would be something greater than I could imagine. So let there be firmament, the vastness, the unending presence of the infinite that calls us to live life in faith. It takes courage to live a life in faith because we can't always see what's coming. And when we're living life present in this moment, we have no idea what's coming next. But when we live in faith, we can confidently say yes. And in a couple of books ago, we studied the map of consciousness with David Hawkins. And it's so brilliant because he describes courage as that line where resentment becomes forgiveness, where retaliation becomes acceptance, where fear becomes love. So we move from all those low vibrational frequency thoughts and feelings and behaviors, and we step into that courage. And then life opens to the beauty and wonder of the firmament, of the heavens. So let there be firmament is faith inviting us to be courageous, to say yes, even if we're trembling, until we have the evidence that we can just go ahead and leap. It gives us that space to feel that divine guidance, to feel the inspiration of the divine, to hear it and to listen to it, and then to do the work that we need to do to make it manifest. Chop wood, carry water, to make all of those things manifest. And the biggest thing is it's not according to my clock and my calendar. And when I can give that up, wonderful things happen. Let there be firmament is faith inviting us to sit in the spaciousness of allowing. Allowing what, you ask? Well, I don't know. Allowing whatever wants to be brought forward and brought out of you, whatever wants to be made manifest through you. Be in the spaciousness of allowing that. Allowing our good to make its way to us. And it does. Now, there are some things that I need to do when I'm standing or resting in that power of faith, and it is to align myself with Spirit. And often that requires me to realign again and again and again and again. Because we live in this human experience, and there is so much that wants to distract us, that wants us to pull us away from our center. There's so much. There's the 24-hour news channel. There's the gossip of the world. There's the reality TV. There's the sound bites on the radio. So how do I know when I'm in alignment? For me, and you'll find your own way, but for me, I move through life with ease and grace. Things happen. It seems serendipitous, but it's very purposeful. We move that way. Life isn't a struggle or a battle. I don't have to fight my way to make anything happen. I'm in that flow. My inner me is in harmony with the outer me. I'm showing up just as I feel inside. Show up peaceful, show up reserved, quiet. I acutely attune myself to the movements and nuances of the universe. I have to stay awake and aware so that I can see those subtle movements, those little itty-bitty nudges, those signs that tell me, yes, go here, no, go there. They're there waiting for us. But we have to be very attuned, very alert to be able to see them and feel them. And I have to allow what is beyond what I can see with my human eyes to be made manifest through me, as you make it manifest through you. Courage and faith. So I want to share these words from Eric Butterworth in his book, The Creative Life. One thing is certain. To the person with the unshakable faith that something wonderful is going to happen, something wonderful is happening. Do you hear that? Let me read that again. One thing is certain. To the person with the unshakable faith that something wonderful is going to happen, something wonderful is happening. So on the second day of creation, God said, let there be a firmament. And the power of faith was unleashed. And we remember always the words of 1 Corinthians 16:14. Speak them with me. Let all you do be done with love.